Expect the unexpected. It's a bit of a cliche in sports. They say it in all kinds of sports, but no sport epitomizes, exemplifies the whole "you didn't see that coming" more so than boxing. I have just watched Dillian Whyte, as many others will have just done, be in complete control of his fight against a 40-year-old Alexander Povetkin who didn't seem to be able to hurt or penetrate Dillian Whyte's guard. He got dropped twice in the fourth round, and the old man really seemed to be on his way out. The very next round, I don't know where he gets the strength from, but Alexander Povetkin does Dillian Whyte with one punch through the guard, a left uppercut. Povetkin's always been really good with those little ambush attacks. There's a lot of variation with his left hand. Let me get rid of this wine. Povetkin's often good at varying the hook and the uppercut. He'll come in like that. He'll give you a weird little look stepping in, then throw an overhand right. That last one I just mentioned wasn't working against Whyte. He didn't seem to be able to hurt or fluster the naturally bigger and younger man, whose own body shot seemed to bother Povetkin, and Povetkin just had this dried husk of an old fighter look about him, like a guy who hasn't got any gas anymore, and he can't really go many more rounds. And then he one-shots Dillian Whyte, and I'm just like, it's so difficult to process those moments in sport when you see, like, the writing is on the wall, Povetkin is going out, and then he completely turns the tide, and Whyte is done. And where does he go now? He's still young, and in fairness, after the Joshua loss, he's had so many good wins that he probably still deserves a title shot anyway, but man, he started, I think, conservatively. The idea was to try and drain the stamina of the older man. He wasn't busy enough with his long jab as I think he should have been. Maybe still inexperienced on his behalf, not having many amateur fights and all that. Povetkin, definitely the more sophisticated operator. And in that knockout, you just saw just those cute little moves. He occupied Dillian Whyte with a jab, and he put his hands up. Was he not bracing properly for the left uppercut that was coming? I don't know, maybe he wasn't. And then boom, Povetkin comes in and just gets the job done. How good is Povetkin's resume now? I don't think anyone called that. Dillian Whyte was the favourite. I think AJ said it might go on points. I don't think anyone was going to say a Povetkin KO in the fifth round. And certainly not by one punch. Again, the first few rounds were quite even. Give or take, maybe a matter of taste. But it didn't look like Povetkin could hurt Dillian Whyte. And Whyte, for the first time, shows up in shape. He gets rid of a lot of the timber. He shows up in the 250s. We can see his abs for the first time. He's still a big, powerful guy. He looks like he's taking this very seriously. And he's using the jab a little bit more. Floors Povetkin twice in that fourth round. And when he did, it was the first time Dillian Whyte had really thrown the right hand. So it just looked like Povetkin went down as soon as he threw the right hand. It's like, this guy doesn't have the reserves to go on, does he? He's just old. That is what that said right then. Then he comes back and does Whyte with a little left uppercut. It's like, AJ didn't do that. AJ did him with an uppercut, but it was after wobbling Whyte. That Povetkin knockout came out of nowhere. And it's that beautiful moment you have as a boxing fan. Part of me feels bad for Whyte, but I'm watching that. I'm positive Povetkin's about to get knocked out. The next moment, I'm looking at Whyte just prostrate on the canvas, just going, what is going on? Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Add that onto Alexander Povetkin's resume now, who for so long was the second best heavyweight after Vladimir all throughout his reign. Fantastic resume as a heavyweight. Parker didn't manage that. Parker managed to floor Whyte near the very end of their fight. Povetkin has just done Dillian Whyte, a man, I think 11 years his junior, with one shot after it looked like he was going to get taken out. And what's so great about Povetkin, maybe it's the Russian temperament, but he's asked about it in the post-fight interview and he's just like, yeah, you know, cool, he's got the silver WBC title. And he's like, yeah, it's fine. And they're like, was that one of the best punches of your career? And he's like, yeah, probably. So nonchalant. He's just like, yeah, they have got a rematch clause there in the contract, but the damage that's done to Dillian Whyte now, I don't doubt, because of the fact he's still young and he's quite a tenacious individual, he can still make inroads into the division. But Whyte was supposed to win this fight. Getting blasted like that, showing that vulnerability again, as he did against AJ, but probably even worse. Getting knocked out in one shot by a 40-year-old who looked shit against Michael Hunter. Let's get real, in his previous fight. I'm not going to say told you so, but I have said many, many times I haven't been that hot on Dillian Whyte. He's sloppy, his inexperience shows, and I've always said he's hittable. And this time I was willing to think that Povetkin doesn't seem to be big enough at like 225 pounds to hurt him, but he proves me wrong in one single punch. So yeah, being hittable is not a very good trait in the heavyweight division. And Dillian Whyte's not a small guy. He's 6'4", he's got long arms, but he doesn't fight tall. He's hunched over and he likes to engage. In this instance, that predilection he has to want to engage you and bring you on, it really did not help him. He can come back, but this is a hell of a dent now in his career. As for Povetkin, nobody wants to see a rematch with Joshua, I don't think. And this now puts him in line to fight Tyson Fury, presumably. But as Tyson Fury said in 2016, while he was training for a rematch with Vladimir Klitschko, man, Povetkin's a midget. And if Tyson Fury is near his best, it's not that much of an interesting fight for me, because I can't see how Povetkin gets at him. It doesn't matter though. Whatever Povetkin chooses to do, whether he does get a fight with Tyson Fury in the future, what he just did then, he was a pretty solid underdog, right? But the way the fight went, it looked like he was completely done. And just why I love this sport, part of why I love it, that was so unexpected. I do feel bad for Dillian Whyte, but that little jab come up close, left uppercut from hell, was beautiful. Alexander Povetkin, congratulations.